Welcome to Age of Empires 4 multiplayer. I'm a huge fan of multiplayer Age of Empires. I played it heaps as a kid. This will be my first game within Age of Empires 4. It's a 3 versus 3. I noticed that both of my teammates were the Mongols, so I thought that I would play the Chinese. The Chinese are a economic and building civ, whereas the Mongols tend to be military focused, so in an alliance they really benefit each other. We'll be going up against the Holy Roman Emperor and the Delhi of Sultanate. So a Middle Eastern faction and 2 European infantry-based factions. Now, it looks like I'm fortunate enough to be in the center between my 2 aggressive military allies. That means that I don't have a flank to defend, and I can concentrate on building for the first 15 minutes or so. So your goal in the early game of any Age of Empires competitive or multiplayer game is to try and secure as much food and villages as possible. Now, there are many different strategies and build orders that you can play depending on the civilization you've chosen. In this particular case, my strategy is to rush villages and have a very strong economy going into the 2nd or even possibly 3rd age. I haven't played as the Chinese in this iteration of Age of Empires, but I have a fairly good grasp of their play style. They do have a devastating archer unit that used to be available to them called the Chokunu. I'm not sure what it'll be in this game. So it's important to keep your flow of food as high as possible and just continuously build villages. Now, I have the benefit of having allies on either flank, so I don't have to worry about building an early military just yet, unless we have to counter something aggressive. So my aim is to have about 30 villages by the time I move into the 2nd age. Just trying to find get a good sense of where all the resources are around me, so I can plan the next stages of my construction. Probably goes without saying, but the Chinese have very strong walls as well. So this is a bit of a flip on modern history, or ancient history I should say, in that I've actually allied with the Mongols, and we're going to build a wall to keep out Europe. At least that's my intention. So I need to make sure I keep my population surplus free so I can keep my villages under production. My allies seem to be scouting for me, so I don't need to worry about that micro. Get some of the early resource gathering technologies researched. The Chinese also have a unique civilian unit, I guess you could call him. He's the overseer, or the Emperor's taxman. You see him walking around collecting taxes. He's supposed to be able to increase the production of certain buildings too, but I haven't really looked too much into that. Let's have a look now. Production increased by 20%. How does that work? Does he just have to touch it? Or is he still collecting tax? Okay. Not sure. We'll come back to that, I guess. Nope, still didn't work. I can see that being very powerful for your early food production. As well as collecting the free gold is pretty neat. Been distracted now. Stop food production. Looks like we've found the last of all the sheep. There we go. So we're 5 minutes into the game and we've already got our first age up. Now this doesn't concern me too much because I don't mind being the last into the next age. But if I were playing by myself, I could be in serious trouble now. Because if I get sent a wave of early men-at-arms from the feudal age, it can destroy your whole game. So 5 to 10 minutes is your general safe time in any competitive game. I plan on putting a lot more of these up, especially once ranked play is integrated into the game. So I'm sure you'll get to see what I'm talking about in future. But just to be on the safe side, I will create my early military production, just so that I can have it there in case of aggression. Looks like we've had our first contact. Even more reason to move to the next age. Okay, so do I want more tax? Or do I want what appears to be a free fort? Well, if I put a free fort right in the center, where I'm expecting any attacks, that should lower the danger. Seems that my allies are quite aggressive in the scouting, and we are yet to actually see the enemy, so this can work to our benefit. Now that I've got a second Imperial officer, I will try and get this to work. Before I have to move over to farms. Let's try a left click. Getting a little bit distracted now. You should never run out of population surplus. Ever. You should always be creating units. Alright, so we've moved into the feudal age. We are still competitive in terms of technology. Got a few extra buildings unlocked. Like I said, I haven't played this yet, so this will be trial and error. So we'll build the second feudal age landmark, which must be unique to China. And see what this dynasty... We'll see what this dynasty feature is about. So everything in the range of this building will produce double gold in taxes. The Song dynasty has begun. Yet to be seen what that actually does. Will increase the size of the Imperial officer's purse so he can carry more gold for me. So I finally got this guy to generate more income and no one's working on it. Villager production time reduced by 35%. That is actually amazing. Okay, so my priority now is to make sure that I create as many villages as that it works perfectly into my plan, actually. In fact, I should get a second town center to take advantage of that. Yes, and there seems to be a heap of gold and stone resources this way, so we'll build our next town there and get it to churn out a whole village for us. And we will get some spearmen just to keep them safe, just in case. Reaching about the 12-minute mark of the game, you'd expect to see some conflict very soon. Being a relatively new game, I have no idea what type of quality my opponents will be, so... Could be first-timers or 30-year veterans. One of my allies has reached the 3rd age, so he's definitely going aggressive military. So building a village for China gives you the equivalent of 4 houses. It's interesting. I should build as many of those as I can. And now that we've run out of natural resources, we'll have to move over to farming. And we will hunt the rest of the local wildlife. Hunting is quicker to gather food than farming. It's important we keep our food up so we can keep up with the demand for villagers. Okay. So a sacred site is like a victory point. If the enemy get both of those and they hold them, they'll win the match. It's important that we aim to secure the other point at some point in the near future, at the risk of throwing the game. We get the second village underway. Close to 40 villages now. It's a very competitive amount of villages at this time. However, if I get attacked now, it would be game over. That is the benefit of team-based competitive matches. Once I get my economy into a place where I can afford most things, I will start donating my surplus resources to my allies. It's always good to support your friends. And we'll have at least a minor garrison force to fend off any cavalry attacks that may approach. Make sure that the second village is supporting its own food needs. Okay, my ally has realized and has moved to capture the second sacred point. Production levels are looking good, but I do need more stone income if I'm going to build this gigantic wall. At this rate, we'll be fast approaching 100 villages, which is probably more than you need. One of my tactics is to play quite aggressively with the denial of area to the enemy. So I'll move to build a wall or a bunch of towers to block off a certain amount of resources, and then use a swarm of villages to make sure that the resources are secured. I'll need to increase the size of the garrison. And we're looking to move to the castle age now. And with 2 villages, I should really have 2 sets of farms. So we'll send off our first area denial team to build section 1 of the Great Wall. It looks like it's fortunate that we have a mountain barrier to assist this time around. So because of that, we'll put some towers on as well. Just enough stone. And in the meantime, we will increase stone production significantly. And the second stage of the agricultural section. Make sure to put a gate so that my allies can get their army in and out as needed. And here we are, we've almost approached 100 villages, so for now I think that might do for villager production. And we should move to the next age, as well as increasing our military. It's a bit fiddly. Let's just move the wall forward. We do have our allies there as backup if we do get our villagers get approached by the enemy, so that should be okay. Build another village. Farms are underway, we just need some manpower. Stone production underway and supervised for a 20% buff. And the leading section of the wall is almost complete. And we shall alert our allies to our intentions.
Team 2, Tyrell 2324, ready for the Great Wall LOL. Team 2, Shamal 95, yeah haha. Team 2, Shamal 95, Jayataki set emplacement.
So I'm glad that my ally is on board and is understanding my intentions, despite his language difference. I wasn't expecting the chat to talk to us, so that was funny. And time for age 3. Large sight radius tower with a spy's ability. Very nice. While we're here, we'll build the second one and move to the next dynasty. This one acts as a siege workshop, so that'll be useful. Build that in the military sector. Looks like the enemy had some sneaky tower ambitions to spot out the resources. I don't have anything for these guys to do, so it's going to be fun. See, that supervised mine stripped that stone bare. Oh, there's a little section that we missed. That would have been embarrassing. So I think that's historically accurate too. I believe the Mongols snuck around into China the back way. Or at least in one battle they did. See, we've got so many villages now that they're getting a little bit lazy. But you can never have enough food. Great Wall Stone House, that's exactly what we need. You used to have to build it just in your town, but it looks like you're allowed to attach it to the wall now. That's good. More health and more damage for archers on the wall.
All 2, Shimal 95. I'm going for
100% damage, and nearby troops get 50% damage. That's
Team
cool.
2, Tyrell 2324, Roger.
So my ally has declared his intention to move to the final age.
All 1, Alfred Okazaki, okay.
It looks like he told everybody though. Moving to the 4th age is basically signaling that you're ready to end the match. Or draw it out for a few hours. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. It's important to keep on your activity of all your villagers when you have this many. Every villager that's not working is wasting time and money. So activate the spy's ability for my landmark. And
Team
I can
2,
see exactly
Tyrell
where
2324,
the enemy
spies.
is. It looks like they've all grouped up together. Ally's been smart and moved his troops outside the wall to secure the building. And as we move into the next age, all of our civic units will get a speed buff.
Laughing face.
So we'll build a keep, a symbol of our intention to stay for a little while. Absolutely smashing the construction speed. Okay, so the Chinese have a unique granary. I'll research some of the university technologies. Can't yet tribute my resources. That means I need to build a market.
超不容安天。
我会确保它变得很好。
Plus 15% to collection rate for farms in this radius.
准备接受
That's
下
pretty
个
cool.
工作。一座需要是。
More
我已
space
准
for
备
farms.
听从指令。
乐意至极。
技艺高超，我们前往目的地。
And if you use a
村
supervisor on that, holy moly, that'd be a lot of food.
民营地意愿就是我的指令。
So my allies set up a whole military camp. Oh, and our first taste of aggression.
收到命令了，大家出发。
And it looks like our enemy wasn't expecting a giant wall in their way.
集中注意力，命令即将下达。
这就是
Perfect strategic
我
timing.
这就建好这座建筑。
We better build another keep. With our excess stone.
技艺高超，
大家听好，命令即将下达。
不采集到我是不会停下的。好，大家出发。大家听好，我们要收到命令了。大家听好，命
So
令
build
即将下
our
达。
building strength increases.
我这就建好
We'll
这
max
座
out our
建筑。
population. 200 is the cap.
不错的工作，大家听好，命令即将下达。一座需要建技艺高超，村民。
And we'll move to
改进
finish
我们
off the
出发
construction
村民
text tree.
村民动起来！我会确保它。
是，我已准备听从您需要我做。
大家听好，有目的地了。我们
Stripping
走
resources faster than I can manage the
出发
villages.
不要胡闹了。
是，我已准备听从指令。我明。
So at this point, if I were playing alone, I would start spamming military. Because I now have the economy to back it up. But I'm going to continue to build. And since our enemy is not being aggressive, I'm going to make them pay for their passive nature.
准备接受下个工作。您需是，我已准备听从指令，正在迈步移动。我技艺高超，不容安歇。
We shall strip the earth for the
我这
grandeur
就
of
建好
China
这座建筑。
是，我已准备集中注
and
意
build
力
a。
我明白
momentous
我的命令。
monument to my victory. Otherwise known as a wonder victory. So now that I have a market, I will send some of my resources to my allies so that they can buff up any parts of their economy that they need help with. Wood and gold are extremely useful because it lets them build higher tier units and or technologies.
集中
注意。
出发，不要胡闹了。
技艺高超，不，您的意愿就是我的指令。一座需要建，准备接受下个。我们正。
I need to make sure that I'm capitalizing on all the resources that I've secured.
我已准备听从。听到了，村民就绪，等待工作中。
Comes wave 2, they've come back with siege weapons.
村民就。
I did neglect to build a military. So in this case, if I didn't have support, so I'll build out a small castle garrison.
大家听好，有目的地了，我们走。你的意愿就是我的指令，这座建筑。
您需要我做
It is annoying that the officials keep coming up as villages that aren't working.
长矛兵打开你的长矛，然后前进。
大家听好，我会奉命去做。一座需要建造的建筑。没问题。
I have a feeling they'll get through this wall eventually, so anything to stop them will be useful.
技艺高超，不由我们正在等待之村民动起来。
你需要我做什么？我会听从您的命令。
是，我已准备听从。是，我已准备听。大家听好，我会听从您的命令。
And I should follow the lead of my ally and build some military infrastructure close to the wall. The enemies. The ally has left a ping there, so I'm assuming he's telling me he wants me to station some troops. Yes. Oh, yeah. Sending cannons by themselves. I'm not too concerned about that raiding force. The wall's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And we will build a bulwark against attack for the military. We want to funnel the enemy if they do manage to get through. Pretty soon we are going to reach critical mass on the economy. And I won't be able to spend it fast enough. Now it's important that I max out my population on military as soon as possible now. Keep the lumber mills effective by keeping them close to the wood line. Supervise the last remains of this gold. And I'll just try to keep them busy until I decide what I'm going to do with my horde. Very thematic. I'll purchase some extra stone, just in case I need it, to reinforce the wall. Or build a giant tower to the sun. One of those two. Well, that's unfortunate. You lose access to the buildings from the prior age or the prior dynasty when you progress. I'll have to keep that in mind for future. I have so many resources, it doesn't matter which technologies I research as long as they're being researched. ally has a substantial army now.
跟着我策马前进。
But we will keep the defensive garrison here,
准备行动，兄弟们！好的。
because that army could easily get stomped.
集中注意力，命令即
Don't
将
really
下
need
达。
food, so let's progress to the next
大家听好，命令
mining
即将
area.
下达。
大家听好，命令即将下达。
被接受提议高手，我依照您的指
大家听好，命令即将下达。
And we shall start building the
注
wonder.
意力
The wonder.
命令即将下达。大家听好，命令即将下达。
大家听好，我们要收到命示，我已准备
We just use everybody. All available hands. Build it for the Emperor.
我在你的指令，安静下来，听从命令来了，这会很有趣。这是我们的行军路线。
不测地攻，
集中注意力，命令即将下达。
We'll attempt to build some kind of wall around it so it just doesn't get trampled on. But it appears that I've used all my stone.
仔细听好，兄弟们，前进！所有人集合，
准备接受下个工作。
安静下来，我这就策马前行。你的命令是
First of the conflicts is about to start. First major conflict of the game.
我们要离开这里了。
Now, as long as I give my allies resources, I don't feel so bad about them throwing their armies away while I sit back and build. But I'm confident that this will win us the battle, win us the match.
大家听好，
好，大家出发。
The enemy has 15 minutes to destroy my wonder.
我这就建好这座建筑。
And because it was completed while they were in the middle of a battle,
仔细听好
they're going to
兄弟
lose
们
their
命
army
令我这就策马前行。
and then have to rebuild it in 10 to 12
知道自
minutes.
己在干嘛。
So when this has happened in the past for me,
很好地完成。
the enemy will panic. They'll send in everything they've got in a beeline to my wonder. As long as I have the resources and I'm ready for that, we should carry the day.
大家听好，出发，不要胡闹了。集中注意力，命令即将
But
下
I
达
should really prepare
您
for this
需要
rush
我做
大家听好，我们要收到
by
命令了。
stocking up on stone and gold as quickly as possible.
集中注意，出发，不要胡闹了。
Fortunately, I have an army of villagers that will
我们走，
acquire me the
大
resources.
家出发。好，大家出发。
And in case we lose, and for some reason I lose my wonder,
大家听好
we will have denied the
我们要
enemy
收到
these
命令了
resources close to their bases.
是，我已准村民就绪，我会听从您的命令。给您
So it can be very beneficial to your strategy to aggressively acquire resources close to the enemy's
高
base.
超，不永安歇。这
准备好。
There's nothing worse than seeing every single enemy villager just stripping your local countryside bare. And strip it we shall. And I should really have a supervisor,
你
是，我已大家
because
听
that
好
would mean I'd be getting 20% more
谁人
from that mine.
我已准备听从。技艺高超，
技艺高超，不容安歇。
So we will move to do that.
准备接受下个工作。知道了。
And it sounds like both my ally and the enemy lost their armies in that foray. So I will give my allies some of this gold to help ease the pain of that loss. And as you can see, we're easily making 1,000 gold a minute just from that strip mining operation. It would be good if you could give away a 500 or 1,000 at a clip. And we are making short work of those gold mines. However, the enemy is amassing again, so it might be wise to build a line of forts. Look at the power of industry. So many hands, there's not enough room for them all to hammer. There, in less than a minute, we've got a minor defensive fortification that we can put our villagers in if we need to. And to add insult to injury, we'll fully upgrade all the towers. And so now we're at max efficiency. Watching the gold skyrocket. 5,000 already. Each of those piles has 8,000 gold, plus 20% for the supervisor bonus. The bonus effectively creates gold out of thin air. Not quite maximum efficiency, because some of the miners can't get close enough. You used to be able to stack them up on top of each other in the old games. Might send an attack force to help, so I'm not totally passive. And we have the resources to replace them easily. Not sure what my plan with that villager is. He can just be an observer. Conscript. Just like that. 2 complete gold mines dispatched. Again, we'll share the spoils with our allies because it's only fair. There is a 30% tax, but by having the supervisor there, we sort of offset that.
Team 2, Shimal 95, Jayataki set emplacement.
I'm assuming he means to check my emplacement.
2324, yes.
When in doubt, say yes.
大家听好，命令即将下达。营捕。
It's absurd how quickly that's being stripped.
已做好提醒准备。
If I don't win this through the sheer power of economy, I don't know who would.
Team 2, Shimal 95, JD defense set in placement.
你的命令十分明确，遵从您的命令。
Looks like we might win this before the 1 to victory. We have 5 minutes left in the game. The enemy has to do something about it within the next 2 or 3 minutes or they've lost. And we will continue to plunder their landscape. So we'll let my troops take the majority of the losses this time, while those trebuchets make short work of the town centre. Doesn't take an experienced player to see that the enemy is definitely on the back foot now. Less than 5 minutes to go. One of their towns is being ravaged. Their fighting force, in this town at least, has been decimated. Although the guy in the north corner is suspiciously quiet. But he may have already been defeated. In any case, I need to scale up military production to be ready for the offensive. My micro is very sloppy at the moment, I do apologise, it's been a long time. I have to thank... My army's gone, that villager's laying there. Observe it to the end. So I want to aim for high AP archers, or hand cannoneers, and fast cav to counter any rush on my wonder. With less than 3 minutes to go, if it's going to happen, it'll happen soon. This player looks like they are out of the match. Goodbye, faithful villagers. But I need the population space. Wasn't very benevolent of me to kill 70 villagers in a single swipe. But such is medieval life. Okay. So it appears I can build these old infantry because I have one of the required buildings. And here it comes. Get the villagers in on the defences. It's quite a substantial attack force in terms of heavy cavalry and siege weapons, so I think my defensive tactic will work. They have 2 minutes. They're through the first line. They have taken substantial losses. We're coming in with a defensive pincer. I will run my fire cav through and ignore the main force and take out the siege weapons. Unfortunately, they have left their siege weapons behind, so that'll be a fairly easy kill. Especially since fire cav are perfect against siege weapons. And these hand cannoneers are the perfect counter to heavy elephant cav. if they're given the space to fire. So it looks like Hannibal's tried to rush through the mountain pass, but he was beaten by a decisive pincer in the mountains. He gets a little bit of damage on the Wonder, just to say that he was there. But we have won. The final minute counts down. It's just a mopping up operation. The defenses didn't hold for as long as I would have liked, and I wasn't very prepared. But we still win.
Shimmel 95, nice defense, laughing face. Team 2, Tyrell 23-24, GG. All 2,
And
Shimmel
thank you very
95,
much, my friend.
GG.
Well played to you. And the final
Team
countdown.
2, Tyrell 23-24, GGWP. Super Toasty 420 has been eliminated.
And there we have it,
Alfredo
our
Gazzafi
first
has been
victory
eliminated.
on multiplayer
Manta
Age of
1599
Empires.
has been eliminated.
And we'll have a quick look at the stats afterwards.
The match.
So judging by the stats, we were the MVP for the match, based on economy and our technology score. There are lots of metrics that measure your performance, so you can see how you've fared against your enemies. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Until the next transmission, Commander Tyrael out.